Okay, we're into April. This is the update based off of March real estate sales statistics, and high level, it's more of the same so far this year. The narrative of interest rates coming down, providing some buoyancy to housing sales and housing prices, is not holding up in the face of the renewal wall and the uncertainty over the tariff wars. We're seeing inventory more or less continue to build up, while prices have been holding relatively stable. We're seeing continued pressure on the inventory side. So let's jump into our individual counties in the video at a glance to take a look at what we're going to look through here. Okay, video at a glance. We're going to cover the same municipalities as we did last week, which is slightly expanded beyond Peterborough. We're looking at the city of Peterborough, the county. We're looking at Belleville. We're looking at Cobourg. We're looking at Northumberland and Kawartha Lakes. We're also going to do the GTA overview and then the buyer seller advice, which, spoiler alert, it's been pretty much the same all year. So let's jump into okay, City of Peterborough stats. You can see that sales, again, are down 22% year over year in March. So a drastic decrease. This was even worse last month, but we have 75 sales. Last year wasn't a crazy March by any stretch. So to see it down this much is significant. You also see again here, we're carrying nearly double the amount of listings. It's actually amazing that the prices have held on. You see a 0.5% price increase this year. Really going to be interesting to see as the months grind on how this number can possibly hold up given the increasing inventory and the decreasing sales. Okay, Peterborough region. We are looking at similar numbers, not nearly as drastic on the decrease in the number of sales here. And as you can see, very similar, where really the prices are holding. The average price is holding, but the listings are beyond double what they were last year, the active listings. So the same applies. We're just going to be interested to see how long these prices can actually hold with these types of decreases. Belleville, not nearly as drastic as last time, and quite interesting to see. Again, when you get these low sales months, you can have anomalies in terms of the pricing. Where March of 2025 we had a almost nearly identical amount of sales, down 6.5%, but obviously from 62 to 58, very, very close. And the average sales price actually up 11%. So just not enough, statistically enough to really call it, especially when most months we're seeing slight price decreases or flat prices in most markets. Not likely going to see this 2 months in a row, especially when you see the active listings double what they were last year. Cobourg was an interesting one here, where it really was different than what we see in most of the GTA. In our sort of Peterborough region. It's a little bit more favorable than Northumberland at large. So sales are almost identical to last year, and the prices are up just slightly, but really this is like a carbon copy other than the active listings from last year. So Cobourg showing a little bit more resiliency here than most Ontario cities. Northumberland region as a whole, you can see sales down 7.6% year over year, but again, prices up. Really going to be interesting to see. It's just very unlikely that this will hold. Likely just more indicative of the type of product that is selling, not that you're actually paying more for the same thing as you were last year. So we'll watch out for this again next month to see if this moves. Average days on market, 47 days. That's a bit more than what we're seeing in the urban areas right now, because this does encompass some rural area where we're still seeing a little closer to just over a month inside of the city areas. Kawartha Lakes, this one, again, same thing as we're seeing everywhere, but now sales down 22% from last year. Said it before, say it again. The sales were not amazing last year, so this shows the weakness in the sales numbers. Average sale prices up 6.1%. The same advice applies on that pricing, where we're going to watch it month over month here, and it's unlikely that you're going to continue to see year over year gains, especially with the active listings continuing to climb. And moving into the GTA watch here, we're looking at where we were seeing, this is the months of inventory across the GTA. So you can see the different, we got Toronto, Toronto Condo, Durham, York, Peel, Halton areas. The reason we watch this is because patterns can only hold up for so long in the GTA, whether they're good or bad, before they extend out here like a shockwave. And we were looking at really watching this inventory sort of spiking in the winter and then coming off and seeing what was going to happen here. We're seeing it start to rise again and anticipating that it could surpass the inventory highs in the fall of this year, really early in the year. But we actually finally saw some downticks for the first time in a while in many of these regions. So that's somewhat positive in the favor of seeing a balanced and not a continually deteriorating market. And on this slide here, this is the residential resale 30-day report of sales. I got to give a shout out again to Rob, who's creating these graphs. It's Rob Marcelago. That's a little screenshot of his Twitter page and his Twitter handle there. But you'll see here, we're obviously, when we're looking at the rate of reported sales, where this time last year into the fall, look at how much higher we were in all of these regions and how much lower things are right now. And you can see this little blip of optimism in the fall that happened here and how we're lower than that right now. So the fall market of 23 felt stronger, felt healthier, felt much more optimistic than right now. So sales not decreasing, but seasonally not really seeing like the type of rise, the volume of rise that we'd want to see. Now, final marker on that, and this will segue over into the buyer seller advice, is that it's been a long, hard winter. Last year, the snow came off super early, and it was like green flag racing early on in the spring territory, sort of a left translated spring over into February. Whereas this year, we're really just getting into it now, between power outages in our own region and just really bad weather, people not wanting to drive the 115 and get out and shop, and people waiting to list their houses. We haven't seen people be as active as they could be this time of year, so we're really expecting it just to start in the next couple of weeks. So I do anticipate personally that this rate of sales will tick up. It's just going to be a question of whether listings come on in kind and at an equal strength to dictate as to whether or not the market's going to stay balanced here, or whether it's going to break further out into a buyer's market. Okay, so the advice here, honestly, I haven't changed this slide from the very first month of the year that I created it, because the advice has been the exact same. With buying, it's really uncertain as to whether prices will stabilize here, rise very slightly, or fall somewhere in the single digits. I would say it's unlikely they'll fall in the double digits as a percentage, which would be significant if it were to, but the probability of that is low. So it's still okay to buy, especially if you have a long-term time horizon, longer than 5 years, with anything that you're doing, whether you're investing or an end user. Just take your time, get a good deal. The best you can do is, if you're worried the market's going to fall by another 10%, which is plausible. I mean, it's a non-zero probability that it could happen. If you can go out and find a deal that's 10% off of fair market right now based on comparables, then if you can lock that in now, you're hedging for that future decrease. So it just says buy deals, buy right, and buy the right thing for you. Sellers, again, you really have to be priced well, or you just get picked right over. You just get left behind. Once you're 30 days on market and you haven't sold, you're into decreased territory, and it getting stigmatized, and it really just gets ugly. So you got to come on, within like 2% of fair market value right off the hop here. And then again, the price forecast, same thing. We don't know, like interest rates could continue to go downwards. It's really up in the air with the tariff inflation pressures. But all things being equal, just sideways, slight downward pressure continues to be the most likely forecast that I can see from my perspective. So I'm not changing that. I don't think you're going to see at the end of the year on most months year-over-year gains. I think it's just going to be flat and like gains in either direction that don't really exceed 5%. So pretty much just a flat year. And if I were to, have to pick a side, whether it's going to be slightly down or slightly up, I think through most parts this year, it's going to be slightly down from last year in terms of prices. So that's it for this month. Look forward to seeing y'all next month. And if anybody does need anything, you got our contact info here. We have scaled up our team, and we are looking to help more people this year. So absolutely reach out. Looking forward to chatting with you. Take care.